Hi everybody, Golden Era Bookham here. Today we begin the new series of interviews with Big Red Ken Waller. Now before we get started, I have to forewarn you that Ken is a very private man, and this is why he is not present in social media. He is also not a friend of technology, which is why I was only able to speak to him on the phone, so this is not a video interview with him. He doesn't have Facebook, Instagram, or a Zoom account, or even a Skype account, or neither does he want to, and I can understand his decision. Nevertheless, he did choose to speak to me in what is only his fourth interview since pumping iron, and it is a true honor to know that he accepted to be interviewed. In this first segment of our interview, which serves as an introduction, Ken talks about his early involvement in football, his introduction to bodybuilding, and how he ended up at Gold's Gym in California during the golden years of bodybuilding. Enjoy. Hi Ken, it's a great pleasure to have you on my channel. You're truly one of, in my opinion, one of the original legends from the golden era from Gold's Gym. So it's an absolute honor to have you, and I greatly appreciate you agreeing to be interviewed. So welcome to my channel.
You're very welcome.
Thanks very much. All right, well, we'll start with an introduction. Can I ask, how old are you now? I mean, I've seen photos of you and Ken recently, and you look in pretty good shape. So how old are you now?
81.
Wow, 81, that's fantastic. I mean, yeah, you look in fantastic shape. Ken showed me a photo recently. I interviewed Ken Sprague just a week ago, and he sent me a nice photo of you and him. So you guys look good. You guys look great.
Well, that might have been the photo taken down in Austin during the Arnold documentary that they were doing.
Probably.
Were we sitting at like a table?
Yeah.
Drinking something?
Yeah, that's right.
Yep, that was. I think his wife took that photo one day. We were sitting down having lunch.
Okay. Next question, I guess. Are you still working out these days?
No, be honest with you, I quit working out when I got custody of my son when he was 5 years old.
Okay.
And I started devoting everything to him. I used to have my own gym, and I trained pretty hard back then with some of the guys in the gym. But I had a lot of injuries. I tore tricep off the bone twice. And both biceps, they run up my arm. I never had them attached. So now that I look back on it, I used to go in the gym and do stupid stuff because I could. And I trained too heavy. Like I'd warm up sometimes with 405 on squats. Just
Wow.
walk in there and start doing it because somebody would be on a squat rack and I'm thinking I work in with you.
Yeah.
And or stuff like that. Or I remember one time we were taking pictures for a Weeder magazine, and they wanted me to do some heavy dumbbells, so I just went over and picked up, and in fact, the picture is in a pumping iron calendar, and I think I had 250-pound dumbbells in my arm, and they were asking me to stand and do inclines with them, so that's what I was doing. Just dumb stuff that just tears stuff. So that's one of the main things I wish I would have done a little different is just always warm up and stretch and do what you're supposed to do instead of showing off.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So you were born in 1942, is that correct?
1942. I was born up in the Bay Area in Frisco. My dad was a horse trainer and he moved around a lot. And when I lived in California till I was 12 years old.
Okay.
And then my father got killed in a car wreck on the way back. Yeah, we used to have race horses, and he was on the way back from a racetrack, and apparently they pulled around a semi-truck of some kind and hit a car head on. So that was when I was 12, and we moved back to southern Indiana.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But the date was...
Until I got back to the Midwest.
But you were born 1942, March the 20th, is that right?
March 20th, 1942.
Cool, okay. Yeah, I mean, Wikipedia, which is supposed to be the encyclopedia for the internet, says that you were actually born in Jeffersonville, Indiana. So that would be incorrect.
Well, that's where I was. That's where we moved. When I was 12, we moved to Jeffersonville, Indiana, and I went to high school there. I think I was in the 7th grade when we moved there. Okay. And I'd never played sports or anything until I was like 12 years old.
Okay. But you said you were born in the Bay Area in San Francisco.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, they need to correct that. So from you just said that you played football. I mean, Ken Sprague also told me that last weekend after speaking to him. But you said that you only just started playing football when you were 12 years old, which was, I guess...
7th grade.
Yeah, middle school, right?
Right. I started playing in Jeffersonville, Indiana, junior high school.
And, I mean, from what I've read, you were rather an accomplished football athlete. You played in middle school, high school, and, I mean, can you elaborate as to how you got into football?
Yeah, I just liked football and started when I was in the 7th grade. Played varsity football when I was a freshman. Not very big. I only weighed, when I graduated from high school, I weighed 165 pounds. But I started, make this real fast. In the backfield of my high school was the 100-yard dash champion. The other halfback was the second in the 100-yard dash. I might have been the slowest person in the backfield, but when I went to college, I was the third fastest guy on the team. So, what happened was when I was a senior, I was wrestling Evansville North and Albany, Indiana, and I remember guy from Albany, Indiana was the best in that area besides me. And we had a try meet, and he got pinned in 15 seconds from this guy from Evansville. It looked like Mr. Universe or something. And I thought, holy crap. So I spent the whole 3 rounds trying to keep from getting pinned. And then I decided to start lifting weights. So that's what got me into weightlifting.
Uh-huh.
And as soon as I started lifting weights, I gained 30 pounds in the first year, and I actually laid out of I didn't go to college my first year. I was riding down to where my mother lived at the time in Tennessee, and I rode past Bowling Green, Kentucky, and looked up on the hill, and I saw this. I didn't know what it was, so I rode over there, and it was Western Kentucky University, and they were having football practice. Mm-hmm. And so I stopped and I walked over and I asked where the coach was, and I talked to the coach, and I just looked at him. I said, I'd like to come here and play football for you guys. And he says, well, we really don't have any scholarships or anything right now. I said, well, you figure out a way. And if I make your team, I said, you pay my way, and if not, I'll pay my way. And I'll be honest with you, I didn't have a dime. And so within 2 weeks, coach calls me in his office and he says, we've got your meals across the street at the restaurant. We got your dry cleaning downtown at a dry cleaners. We've got you a job for $50 a night, checking IDs at the local Moose Club. So here I am, and we said we're going to put you up in the football dormitory in the basement because all the young players were in dormitories, not in the football house. So here I am with all the older players living in the basement.
Wow.
And that's how I got started. After the first semester, they put me on full scholarship, which wasn't as much fun because then I had to eat in the cafeteria and took all my goodies away. So
and that was at the university already, right?
Then I was at Western Kentucky University, and I was a 4-year letterman down there. I was captain of the football team as a junior.
Mm-hmm.
And then in my senior year, I actually broke my ribs and missed out in 4 games. And then I was drafted in the Canadian Football League.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Saskatchewan, and while I'm up there, I wasn't up there 6 weeks, and I got an induction notice from the Army. So I came back, and at that time, that was during the Vietnam War, and I came back, and I went out that night, and I went to a bar, and sitting over there was the head coach of the largest school in Kentucky, which was Pleasure Ridge Park. And he looked at me and he says, "Can you teach science?" I said, "Yeah, I have a science. I have a teaching degree with a minor in science." He says, "Well, right now, science teachers are exempt. Our line coach got drafted because he's an English teacher." He says, "You apply for the job, I'll make sure you get it."
Wow.
So, make a long story short, I didn't even go to the interview or the induction thing the next day. I got the job as football, and I taught school and coached football for 2 years in Kentucky. And then the draft stopped, so at that time I decided, well, I'm going to go do something else. So then I started making my way out to California. So,
right.
In the meantime, I started bodybuilding, and the first real contest I was in was called the YMCA Mr. America in Chicago, and I won that. Then I went over to Cincinnati. This was like in 1968, and I met Ken Sprague at the contest in Cincinnati.
Mm-hmm.
And this was called the Mr. Midwest, and I actually won that contest. And Ken and I started talking back then because he had been an athlete before he was in the bodybuilding too. Mm. And so then I went to in about 1970. I went out to California, and actually, since I had a teaching certificate at this time, I applied for substitute teaching, and I got on at the same school where Frank Zane was a math teacher.
All right.
And I got on as a PE instructor.
Cool.
So now I did that for, I guess, about a year till school was over, and they offered me a full-time program. But at that time, I just won Joe Weider's Mr. America, and they were sending me over to London. Maybe that wasn't, no. After I won Joe Weider's Mr. America, I wanted to go over to London for the NABA Mr. Universe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And this was going to take up time, so I didn't accept the job at the school board. I told them I was going to be out of town, so I lost that job. But in the meantime, when I came back from London after I won the Mr. Universe over there, Golds became up for sale, and Ken asked me if I would run Gold's Gym.
Yeah. He
said, "I'll buy it if you run it for me."
Yeah.
I said, "Okay, we got a deal." And that's how we got together over at Gold's.
So that was an introduction to Ken Waller, and as we heard from Ken, He started off playing football in middle school and then in university, and soon after started bodybuilding. Destiny would have him meet Ken Sprague during his early competitive days, and soon after evading the draft to Vietnam, he moved to California and started teaching in the same school as Frank Zane. Here, Ken Sprague would approach Ken Waller to become the manager of Gold's Gym. And well, as I've already explained, the rest, as you know, is history. If you have been watching this channel recently, you would have learned of Ken Waller's involvement with Ken Sprague in the promotion of the Gold's Gym brand, so I won't cover that further, and you can check out the Ken Sprague playlist for that information. Ken Waller actually was interviewed extensively in the movie documentary Dream Big, which is available for free on Amazon, so please go ahead and check out Dream Big. I personally call it Pumping Iron 2, as it is an awesome documentary that really explains everything else that happened during the golden years that lifted the profile of bodybuilding. If you have enjoyed this video, then please give the video a like, subscribe, and leave me your comments. In the next interview segment with Ken Waller, Ken goes into great detail about his first training programs, the exercises he used, and more, so stay tuned for the next video with Ken Waller. That's it from me. This is the Golden Era Bookworm saying bye for now. Head to www.goldenerabookworm.com for the biggest range of classic old school bodybuilding books as ebooks, e-magazines such as Iron Man and Reg Park Journal, high quality bodybuilding posters of the Golden Era stars, merchandise and classic gymwear featuring Steve Reeves, Marvin Eder, John Grimmick, Reg Park, and many other Golden Era stars. For those wishing to build a classic physique, lose fat and build muscle, online training is also available. Collectibles such as rare autographed photos from the Golden Era stars are also available, and to collaborate, please get in touch. As a natural bodybuilder, it is imperative to know your own testosterone levels, as they are a reflection of the anabolic environment created by your diet and training. I would highly recommend using the male hormone test kit from Let's Get Checked, and make sure you use my code GOLDEN30 for a 30% discount. Again, the advantage of checking yourself regularly is that you will know how well your body is anabolically primed to put on the much desired muscle you are working for. Not all of us have the time to go to a gym or the opportunity to have a coach to teach us one-on-one, but with the Future Fitness app, it's like having a personal trainer in your living room. From February 11th onwards, you can try the Future Fitness app for only $19 for the first month. Think of what you can accomplish during that first month. So go on and hit my link at tryfuture.co/GEB to get started. Now, if you're interested in learning more about Vince Gironda's approach to bodybuilding, his principles, and all these tips of wisdom that he has, but to be honest, these 3 books, I believe, which I call the Classic Physique Bundle, are the best books that Vince ever came out with. And they, of course, are the Wild Physique, the Master Series, and the Pro Series. Have a look at it this way. The Wild Physique, I believe, is like the ABCs of Vince Gironda's principles to bodybuilding. He teaches you the exercises and his principles, but how do you put them together? Well, the Master Series is a 14-month program of using all of these principles, all of the diets that Vince came out with, all of the exercises, and of course the Pro Series was a book that he came out with later on, specially targeted for getting into competition. It's just these 3 books, as I call it, the Classic Physique Bundle, Vince's best work, and available, of course, at www.goldenerabookworm.com.